I started, instead of continue having this blaming mindset inside of me that everything that bad happens to me, it's because of him, because he made me pregnant, because he physically abused me. Now that I was able to reflect that, hey, I was also responsible for what happened. I also causes the problem. I was also part of the problem. I provoked him. I wouldn't say the physical abuse was good, but now I can step back and actually be able to understand the behavior that he was showing at that time. And for 3, 4 years, I was thinking that's who he is as a person. He's just an irresponsible person. He's just nobody. He doesn't think of his family. He doesn't care about his family. Instead of seeing him that way, I just started thinking that it was just a behavior and it's changeable. And I was able to see the proof of that. Now that we're not in the relationship anymore, now that we're not triggering each other, now that we're not provoking each other, we are able as individual like navigate our life. And seeing that, I feel happy for him. Oh, finally he's able to find a job, he's able to provide for himself, because for a while, for a long time in our relationship, I was doing everything for that. I make him incapable of doing things because I keep saying those things that he
Yeah,
is not capable. I didn't
right.
believe in him.
It's really cool to hear, to see that, and to know that you're able to, that it took you a while, but then you finally got to the point where you realized that you stopped blaming and you took ownership and you started seeing the things you liked in him and made him maybe more free to
Mhm.
grow. Yeah. So it's a crazy thing when one person in a partnership is pushing for improvement or progress or growth and the other person hasn't made that decision. And then I did that too, where I felt like I was the person with the vision, the person trying to make things happen, trying to create progress, and really made my partner feel bad for a very long time. And that just is the opposite of inspiring. That doesn't lift
Mm.
people up. If you constantly tell them what you're not appreciating about them and you're trying to pressure them to grow or you're trying to pressure them to contribute, it's the opposite of inspiring. I realized like way too late how long I was doing the opposite of empowering. Thanks for sharing that.
I just want to appreciate you as well. You've gone through that journey already, and you were the one who really gets me reflecting on those things. Because if not because of you, I wouldn't have thought of, hey, maybe it's not just him who causes this problem. Maybe I'm part of it too. You asking question, and that's something I really appreciate about you is you. Even though I am your partner, we are partner, and he was my ex, you still see situation without bias. Like you still ask me question to reflect on myself and the actions and the belief that I've had about him, because I freeze him in my mind as this is that person. Even though I tried to already have a good communication with him, but every time that his message pop up, I had
Triggered.
this trigger.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get triggered, I get angry, and my automatic response, my default response is to nag at him, is to tell him how criticize again and
Yeah.
blaming. And I wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't noticing it because it's just automatic for me. I've operated that way for 6 years with him. So even though we're not together in the relationship, I would still react the same way. It's just an
Yeah.
automatic default. But you made me pause and think, and we watched this YouTube video about resentment and anger. And just after watching that video, I was like, fuck, I cried so much because this emotion, I realized, even though I have accepted that we're no longer together, I'm in a happy place now, I haven't fully healed. I haven't fully let go of that resentment and anger towards him. And I didn't know that it actually causes me to still not be able to fully become the person that I want to be, which is to
Blocking
love
you.
and yeah, it blocks me to grow myself because what I want to be is to love people, to care about people. And I couldn't do that with him.
Yeah. Do you think part of that was also that the interactions were with him were triggering not only the resentment of how he treated you, but also reminding you of how much you didn't respect the way you had acted? Like that you needed to forgive both of you?
Yes, that's also the part. Because now that I'm trying to be in a place of forgiving, compassionate, empathetic, and realizing that I wasn't giving that to him at all at that time, there's this shame feeling of what kind of person am I like.
Yeah.
And again, that's a mistake because that time you did what you did because that's the kind of thinking and approach that you know. And I just don't know better at the time. And now that
Yeah.
I know,
Also, you're now that I know a bit about how the brain actually works, like you're in a terrible energy state because you're not sleeping and you're eating terrible and you just had 2 kids and you have all this anger going on all the time. You actually don't have much chance of rational thinking. You're not going to be able to make decisions that are logical. You're just going to be doing things based off of those primal emotions.